You have no idea.
So it is so nice to hear all the friendly chatter, and I do not want to interrupt that. However, the time has come for our business meeting to begin, and it's so nice to see everybody here in the chambers on this cold Michigan evening, and see my colleagues again. We, not so long ago, finished up our 5 o'clock Committee of the Whole meeting, which I just want to make sure everyone knows is on water and wastewater rates. Fabulously interesting. I would suggest go look at the recording of our 5 o'clock meeting. You will leave that feeling like you are a more educated person in the world. So here we go. I want to call to order the Kalamazoo City Commission business meeting for Monday, December 1st, 2025. And our first order of business is roll call. Clerk Borling.
Commissioner Hess.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradel.
Present.
Commissioner Slaby.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. So we are blessed this evening to have Rabbi Shelley Goldman here to provide an invocation. She's from the Congregation of Moses. And as she comes forward to provide that invocation, I will ask everyone to stand and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Rabbi Goldman.
Thank you. On this snowy night at the beginning of December, I've been thinking about gratitude and our responsibilities to one another. I've also been thinking about joy and the secret to Jewish survival over the generations. Part of that secret is joy, joy in serving others. And through serving others, we serve the Blessed Holy One. Our psalms proudly proclaim, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. We worship or serve in gladness and in joy. And how do we serve? The Talmud teaches that we are to imitate the virtues of the Holy One. Just as Hashem clothed Adam and Eve when they left the garden, so too are we to clothe the naked. Just as God visited Abraham while he was recovering, so too are we to visit the sick. Just as God buried Moses in the valley, so too are we to bury the dead. It is in these everyday acts of service that we press on, creating comfort and hopefully sometimes joy as we walk on our way. And on a grand scale, one of the greatest Jewish thinkers of the 20th century, Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, said, "The secret of the survival of Judaism in the face of successive challenges is the fact that we, in all epochs, the Jewish religion invested in the rituals of the Jewish people such universal, ethical, and spiritual significance that the issue involved was felt to be not only the saving of the Jewish people, but the saving of all that made life worth living for all of us." Blessings on you who serve the needs of the community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. Blessed are you, God, who makes us holy by inspiring us to work on behalf of the needs of the community. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Rabbi Goldman. I appreciate your presence here. One of the great things that we get to do at the beginning of our business meeting from time to time is recognitions and proclamations. And we are blessed this evening to have an esteemed group of individuals here with us in the chambers for a proclamation this evening. And this proclamation is the 50th anniversary of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the Kappa Psi Lambda chapter here in Kalamazoo. We have a proclamation to read. Commissioner Wilson will be reading it. I'll ask the members who are here in the chambers to please come forward, and I will come down with the proclamation.
Thanks, Mayor.
I just wanted to say while folks are making their way up to the podium, how appropriate that on this very frigid day, we're recognizing the distinguished ice cold brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha celebrating their 50th anniversary, Kappa Psi Lambda chapter. All right. Making their way up here, let them know who you're with. All right. Whereas Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was founded on December 4th, 1906 at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, as the first intercollegiate Greek letter fraternity established for African American men. Dedicated to the principles of scholarship, fellowship, good character, and the uplifting of humanity. And whereas Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated has, for more than a century, cultivated leaders, promoted academic excellence, and championed justice and equality in communities across the nation and the world. And whereas the Kappa Psi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was chartered on February 22nd, 1975 in Kalamazoo, Michigan, serving Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and the greater Southwest Michigan region. And whereas for 50 years, the men of Kappa Psi Lambda chapter have exemplified the fraternity's aims of manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind through programs that empower youth, support education, strengthen families, and promote civic engagement. And whereas the chapter's legacy includes decades of service through mentorship initiatives, scholarship awards, voter education and registration drives, health and wellness programs, and community partnerships that have improved the quality of life for countless residents. And whereas the Kappa Psi Lambda chapter continues to honor the fraternity's rich history while preparing the next generation of leaders to carry forward its mission of brotherhood, leadership, and service. And whereas on December 13th, 2025, the Kappa Psi Lambda chapter will commemorate its 50th anniversary, celebrating half a century of leadership, service, and brotherhood in the city of Kalamazoo and beyond. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 56th City Commission and our Mayor David F. Anderson, I hereby proclaim December 13th, 2025 as Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Psi Lambda Chapter 50th Anniversary Day in the city of Kalamazoo, and urge all citizens to join in recognizing the distinguished contributions and enduring legacy of the brothers of Kappa Psi Lambda Chapter.
Thank you very much for this distinguished honor. My name is Brother Devan Birch. I am the current president of Kappa Psi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So thank you again to the mayor and the city commissioners for this proclamation. As we gather in this season of celebration, we honor not only 50 years of service by the men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated Kappa Psi Lambda chapter, but the unbroken chain of commitment that connects generations past, present, and yet to come. Let this proclamation remind us that greatness is not in titles or in praise, but in the quiet acts of service that lift others, in steadfast hands that build bridges, and in the hearts that love with purpose. Today, we acknowledge those who have carried the torch, men who, through faith, brotherhood, and unrelenting courage, has shaped lives and strengthened the souls of Kalamazoo and Southwest Michigan and beyond. This legacy reminds us that our calling is not only to lead, but to uplift, not only to dream, but to do. And so with gratitude and renewed resolve, we pledge to continue this noble work, to mentor the youth, to serve the community, to speak with compassion, and to live the words that defined our bond, manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind. We stand on the shoulders of our founders. 1906, we are celebrating 119 years of our fraternity's existence and half of our 50 years in existence as a chapter. We have our charter member, Brother Ted Duckett, here with us, who actually founded the chapter 50 years ago. And we'd just like to say thank you again for this proclamation and this honor.
picture, we got to just turn around this way.
Who are we looking at?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank the members of the Kappa Psi Lambda chapter here of Alpha Phi Alpha for being present with us this evening, and just remind everybody that they do have an event that's scheduled for December 13th here in Kalamazoo. Now we are down to C, the adoption of the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items on the consent agenda, G, that you would like to move to the regular agenda, H? Commissioner Slaby.
Mayor Anderson, I would like to move item G23, approval of a request from Kalamazoo Country Club for a permit to publicly display fireworks at 1609 Whites Road on Wednesday, December 31st, to be moved to the regular agenda.
Will do. Any other requests to move items off the consent agenda, Commission? All right, well then the agenda, Vice Mayor Duncan.
22, please.
And also, G22 will now be moved to H, the regular agenda. With the two changes, the agenda now stands. Next, communications, Manager Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. We were pleased to transmit the proposed 2026 budget. I just want to let individuals know that the formal work session is scheduled for a week from today on December 8th. Individuals will have an opportunity to have comments on that budget. It is available on our website. The public hearing will be on December 15th, and we will be looking to adopt the budget on January 5th. So there are opportunities for your input into that process. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Manager Moore. Now is the opportunity for public comments here at our business meeting. For public comments, you will have 4 minutes. Just a reminder, this is not a dialogue, but this is an opportunity for you to present your thoughts on any item of your choosing here to the Commission in this business meeting format. If anyone would like to take advantage of that, please come forward. One other thing I want to note, for clarifying for people, is that we do have an item that some people may be here to comment on, which is now item on our regular agenda, H4, and that we're not having a full presentation. This is just our opportunity to set the hearing date when there will be a full-blown presentation, and then obviously that will be the most appropriate time for additional comments related to this action, and that will be on January 26th is when we're setting that date. So that said, anyone who's here, please come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city.
Hello, my name is Steve Ludy. I live at Lauderdale Drive in Kalamazoo Township, and I, again, appreciate to be in front of you. Having served as a public official in my past, I know all the hard work you all do, so I appreciate you very much. Also, I wanted to comment on 2 different topics, one being the item that the mayor had just mentioned, but I understand that your task tonight is just to schedule a hearing for that, and you're not really having a presentation or receiving comment about that in particular. But I stood for over 2 hours on November 6th for the Planning Commission meeting, and I gave up at that time, and I needed my bedtime, and it went for 2 more hours after that. And it was a wonderful event. Staff and public and the planning commissioners were stellar in exercising example of democracy. So that was wonderful. And at that time, the Planning Commission voted to recommend that the commission not approve of this application that you'll be considering later to rezone 4301 Stadium Drive from its current residential multi-dwelling and residential single dwelling to commercial, community commercial district. And I agree with what the Planning Commission, their analysis, and I urge the City Commission to also honor the analysis of the folks that they asked to do that work. One of the things there's 2 points that really stood out to me after listening to that meeting is that staff had a very street-centric view. They looked at the problem from the Stadium Drive, and the public had a very preserve-centric view. And both were looking at what they thought were compatible uses, but they were looking at them from different angles. And so that was interesting to observe. One of the things that's particularly noteworthy that the public stressed was that the zoning map buffers Alsalem Lake Preserve with commercial, from commercial uses that are associated with Stadium Drive currently. So there are multifamily, multi-dwelling areas such as Stadium Drive Apartments in Winchell Way that act as a buffer for the, separate the preserve from Asylum Lake, separate the preserve from Stadium Drive, like that. And so those are existing uses and patterns that, and I hope the city staff would recognize that. I think they overlooked that, and then they could see rationale for not having a special, unique commercial zoning adjacent to the preserve. As also, I'll just skip to another point I want to make, totally switching gears, is non-motorized. I'm a great advocate of non-motorized pedestrian bicycle use, and I applaud the city's efforts to think outside the box to develop new ways of featuring those properties. But as you look at two-way streets and have other opportunities to look at non-motorized improvements, I would hope that we consider air pollution from, for example, especially on East Michigan Avenue, all the idle vehicles waiting for a bicycle green light to change when most of the time there's never a bicycle there. So when we get two-way traffic, I think we'll be able to solve some of those problems where bicycles and traffic will flow together and there won't be this idle time, which is the greatest source. 10% of air pollution is from idle cars. And also be able to consider things like speed humps on Sage and Stonebrook Manor. There's speed humps, and I literally saw someone in a wheelchair who had no sidewalk available on those streets. And when the speed bumps were installed, they had no way to get over the hump either. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Clifton Fraley Brigette, Kalamazoo Central High School, but I'm here. I'm also a city resident, 1220 Highgate. I'm just coming, we decided to bring you some good news and say that there's a Model UN conference coming this week to Kalamazoo, which brings in roughly 500 plus students to the Radisson downtown, and you'll notice it starts Wednesday and it ends Saturday, so you'll see a bunch of kids in suits and whatnot participating in the Model United Nations conference that we hold there. But I have also brought a few of my students here, my leadership team from Kalamazoo Central High School, some of my seniors, to speak to the benefits of this conference.
Hi, my name is Ava Ballant. I'm a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School, and I'm also the vice president of our Model United Nations Club. And thank you this evening for taking time to hear about the upcoming Glimmin Conference. This conference is going to take place from this Wednesday, December 3rd, to this Saturday, December 6th. And during this time, hundreds of delegates across the Midwest will be debating, writing, and passing resolutions to problems that their committee will be tasked with. Me specifically, I'll be representing the United Kingdom Kingdom and the United Nations Security Council, and we'll be tasked with the situation in Mali and the situation in Ukraine. This will be my 4th year attending Glimmen. I'm very excited to see what it entails. One of my favorite parts is the independence that comes with it. It's nice to experience that type of freedom before you go to college. I'll be passing over to my friend.
Hello, my name is Abo Castriva. I'm a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School and the president of Model UN. Throughout my 4 years of high school, I participated in Model UN. With that, it's given me a lot of unique experiences. Glimmen was probably the first big conference I attended, and I had no idea what to expect. Each committee having a different topic and overall goal to strive for over the course of the conference, whether it was solving sustainability crisis, global hunger, and much more. These conferences teach you how to collaborate with your peers on real-world issues, not only collaborate, but to compromise with other nations in the room. My favorite part about Glimmen is how they have a unique spin on the typical conference. On the 3rd day, the committees get together to present their ideas and what they came up with. It's a good way to see how we were all able to integrate the core values of each of our countries together and make a cohesive paper. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophia Mowry, and I'm also a senior at Kalamazoo Central High School, and I'm the social media manager of our Model United Nations Club. And as my previous members said before, during this time, hundreds of delegates will be in various committees debating, writing, and passing resolutions about all kinds of global topics and issues. Glimmen has helped me practice and expand on my Model UN skills, such as public speaking, cooperation, compromising, and writing resolutions. This conference has been a good basis conference for the future conferences that are a bit larger with more people. And representing the country of Mexico, this is going to be my 2nd year attending Glimmen, and although it's only my 2nd year, it still taught me a lot, and it's been one of my favorite conferences I have attended during my Model UN journey, I guess. And my favorite part of Glimmen is meeting people from all over the Midwest and hearing like all the different states that people come from to come to the city like I live in for a Model UN conference, and I've always thought that was pretty cool. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I'm also super proud of my own students being the advisor. We started this club in 2012, and it's been going, and we've been attending this conference here in Kalamazoo ever since. So just a big deal for the city of Kalamazoo to get shown off in this way, and also these kids are spending money here, so that's always a good thing as well. But we do other things. We travel to U of M, we travel to Michigan State, we go to Northwestern, we've even gone to Indiana University. We like to travel around with the Model UN, but as you can hear from my students, they've garnish a whole bunch of new skills through this program. So we just wanted to highlight that this evening. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Doctail Stevens. I live at 213 Elm Street in Kalamazoo. I wanted to thank you for scheduling the hearing about the Asylum Lake zoning issue for January 26th. I appreciate that because I know the holiday season is very busy, and many of the people who are concerned might be distracted by the holidays and unable to attend. I would ask, however, that you consider holding it at a larger venue. I myself am actually disabled. I'm not supposed to stand for more than 10 minutes. And that evening, I had to ask Bobby Durkee's help of how I could get to the microphone without standing in that long line. Thankfully, he was able to help me, but I know that there were other citizens who weren't as patient or weren't as persistent in asking for help. It's not something I like to do either. So I would ask that you have some method of accommodating people with disabilities at that hearing January 26th so they could participate. And to the other speaker's point, many of us have to get up early in the morning for work. So if there is a way to hold it on a weekend at a larger venue, I'd really appreciate that. I have to get up at 4:15 to go to work every morning. Now, My part in the Asylum Lake part was pretty small, actually, but back in 1993, I put together the book Haven, a treatise on Asylum Lake, but I didn't write this book by myself. This book was written by the community at the time. Now, I only had 30 days to get this book together, and I spent about 25 of those days soliciting input from other community members. And I want to give each of you a copy of this book today so you have a chance to read it over the holidays and before the January 26th hearing. There's poetry, there's essays, there's a scientific study by one of Western's biology professors. There's a list of the endangered and threatened species that we're trying to protect at the preserve. And so, when I published the book in 1993, we were fighting a different threat. We were fighting Western Michigan University trying to put a research business park on that land. But I feel like we're facing the same kind of threat today, because if we have that zoning changed at the corner of Stadium and Drake, it's going to affect the lake and the ecosystem there. I'm not going to waste your time tonight about, I know we're going to talk about it January 26th, but I would ask that you at least take a few moments between now and then to just page through this book and see what some of the community members said back then, because I have a feeling you're going to hear a lot of the same words coming from the community members on January 26th. The sentiment hasn't changed, and people love Asylum Lake, and they want to protect it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt here just a second. This is a little unusual, but I just want to thank the young people who from Kalamazoo Central who came down here and provide us with that amazing story about the work you're doing, and the fact it's right here in Kalamazoo. I've had an opportunity to attend these events sometimes in the past, and I would say this idea of collaboration and compromise, perhaps we should have some adults come into the room and view how you accomplish that. Sometimes I feel like we're not doing a great job of that these days. So thank you for being here and announcing that event. Sorry.
That's fine. Hello, everyone. My name is Tina. I live on Lake Street. I live in the floodplain area of Kalamazoo, the known floodplain area, the area that you keep wanting to build in, the area that I've been trying to save our last natural green space, Lake to Stockbridge to John. Now you're doing something at 150 Crosstown. Sure would be nice if you involved the residents in what's going on in their neighborhood, instead of just doing something and you hear about it from one of these meetings. Lack of communication does not happen up here. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. There's a lot of things going on in Kalamazoo, and one of my main concerns is your storm drains and your storm sewers. They should not be taking the water and pushing it out of the storm drain. The water should be going down the storm drain like it does in every other neighborhood in Kalamazoo but mine. Another thing, I heard that from a friend of mine who happens to rent a business downtown, that you are raising the rent. Yeah, no one knows this. You're raising the rent to the tenants downtown, the shops that have been struggling through all this construction and everything else you have did downtown, from $1,200 a month to $3,000 a month. This is what I've heard. Now, this is from a store tenant. That's ridiculous. And then you say you're going to help people with water bills? That's not true. You should help everybody. I work 2 crappy jobs, and I make too much money to get help with anything. And your water is terrible. You can't drink it. Mine smells like bleach. And then there's another thing. Your parking lot. It's terrible. I hope I didn't mess up underneath my car, having to run over a half-foot snowbank that's all along the parking lot where you have to pull in at, because it hasn't been plowed. I'm sorry, but it has not. We have to get out and shovel our sidewalks. every time it snows. That was a lot of heavy snow to lift. Shoveled mine, but yet then the plows pushed it all the way in my driveway behind my car, over my fence, and into my front yard. So now I have to reshovel my sidewalk. I know that's something that just happens with bad weather. But if you're going to make us shovel our sidewalks, don't make it any harder. You have a lot of seniors out there that have to shovel. And you need to bring back public call-ins at every single meeting. I know you took them away because of the fact you were tired of people bashing you. I know that's why they went away. I've been to every meeting. Matter of fact, December 18th of this year will be 8 years that I've been to every city commission meeting asking for you to fix the flooding issues, asking for you to fix the issues in Kalamazoo. You know, I'm shocked you opened up shelters for people because last year you didn't. That's why that poor lady froze to death in an abandoned car. And you let it happen. And it's been happening. This is the first year you ever did anything. I have to applaud you for that one, but it's about time. You know, Kalamazoo used to be a beautiful place for families to live. Now it's just for the rich playground. It's all about what the billionaires want. It's not what the residents want. The residents aren't heard. The residents aren't listened to. You can't even call in anymore. Because you don't want to hear what we have to say. It's been 8 years, and it's time to fix the problem in my neighborhood instead of making it worse. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, I'm Kay. I live in the township and I do a lot of work in the community here in Kalamazoo. So the situation nationally is very dire. I feel like we've lost control of the government, if we're going to be real about it. Trump is unhinged. He's attacked the trans community, immigrant communities, black communities. He's attacked organizations like Black Lives Matter, and any other black or brown organization that exists. And so we've seen how other cities have handled. Other mayors are vocal about denouncing what is going on. And it's very concerningly quiet in Kalamazoo, especially the city of Kalamazoo, because it's such a progressive city. And there's a lot of immigrant communities, there's a black community who is struggling through an environmental crisis, right? And, graphic packaging is trying to do some changes there, and the question is with what the city is doing is just not. It doesn't give the people the safety or trust, right? It's the city's quiet, and based on how we're gonna get an arena we don't want, and based on the environmental crisis and the housing disparities and everything, we need y'all to be vocal. We need y'all to be vocal about denouncing the 287G agreements, which some cities have denounced, and the communities have pressured them to get rid of these agreements, right? But we really need this city and this commission to be intentional and loud about making sure that the community feels safe, right? We had an incident where there was an ICE vehicle that was spotted, and it caused such an uproar in the community. And there was so many conversations, and people were like, well, let's not create fear. The fear is here. The communities are afraid. This is already happening, right? We're seeing it in real time where it's the communities who have to step up. And in very little, in some real good cases like Chicago, where the mayor's F ICE and we're gonna stand on business, right? The time is now. The time is now to act. The time is now to make sure the community feels safe, that there's transparency when it comes to what KDPS is doing, what police agencies are doing, if they're doing trainings. We cannot say that, oh, it's okay, everything's fine, because black and brown communities do not trust police agencies, and that's the reality, right? And sometimes, yes, we can hear stakeholders that are black, brown, Latinos, who have some kind of privilege or sense of safety in this community because they're plugged in, but that's not the reality for the community, and that's not the reality for this nation anymore. We are in hot water. It is fascism at our door, and we need to make sure that y'all are being vocal and loud and denouncing what Trump is doing, because it's going to trickle down to the communities here. It's not about if, it's now when. When is this going to happen in the city of Kalamazoo, and what is this commission? What safety net does this commission have, or the mayor have, to say, I'm going to stand on denouncing this, and I'm going to stand on protecting the community? That's what we need to be vocal about, because not every community is standing. Yes, we see the notable examples of, like, in LA and just in New York, where they're like the community standing up against ICE, but that is not happening in every community. Like the silent communities where they have 287G agreements, where they have already bounty hunters looking for people, where businesses are letting them come and attack, pick up people. Like, this is where we're at. I cannot stress the importance of being vocal and creating a safety network for the communities.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Josh Kaiser. I'm a city resident, 1523 Lay Boulevard. I am also here to very briefly speak about item H4 on your agenda this evening. I'm the co-president of the Asylum Lake Preservation Association, and our mission is to help protect the Asylum Lake Preserve from land use change within the preserve and from around the preserve. Now, I've been part of extensive studies, and I've been privileged to be part of a local environmental group that has extensively studied the impacts of commercial developments on this very sensitive environmental area. And frankly, the most important next step, now, the Asylum Lake Preserve Management Council and the state of Michigan have stepped up in the last 5 years, okay, based on those studies, for an emergency intervention at Asylum Lake, which is a stormwater system. It's like a open heart surgery at the bottom of Asylum Lake Hill that's capturing very, very polluted stormwater runoff that's happening as a result of the commercialization of the upper watershed. Now, it's a very small contributing area, it contributes to Asylum Lake, and this corner, at the southeast corner of Stadium and Drake, is absolutely incremental to the mission of protecting Asylum Lake right now in the short term from polluted stormwater and from pollution of the air and land as well. But this is kind of a critical key. And so I just want to let you all know that the Asylum Lake Preservation Association is here. I hope that you all will spend some time with the public statement and the testimony before the January 26th public hearing. That is the statements from the last Planning Commission. Many important points were made. And I just want to lastly thank you, as my colleague did, for moving that public hearing to January to give everybody an opportunity to reset. ALPA is here. We're ready to respond to this crisis. We want to work with the city however we can. So I just want to reiterate that. And again, thank you all for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Verna McIntosh. I'm here on behalf of Crime Victim Services. According to my understanding, I guess the first quarterly funding, it was told to us that we will not be granted funding for the crime victims through the YWCA, which typically supports housing, shelter, legal services, and more. Additionally, what I wanted to add was maybe considering extended hours for warming shelters. We're embarking on the winter season. A lot of the shelters are pretty much, they provide services, but that is by way of a certain obligation or various requirements. A lot of individuals don't meet these requirements, which subsequently results into them sleeping outside in the cold. What my viewpoint is possibly pitching an idea where, with warming shelters that are currently existing, providing more of extended hours that will provide more of a warming environment for 24 hours a day, as opposed to just up until, well, according to the public library, until 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, many of the homeless don't have access to toilets. Many of the homeless don't have access to warm or safe places to be. Also, I wanted to address the violent enforcement by law enforcement relating to trespass. Right now, what law enforcement is doing, if an individual is, for example, sitting at the hospital, trying to keep warm, the law enforcement officer is under the influence that they can approach that individual and forcefully drag them out of the hospital, meaning they can grab them, they can throw them on the ground, they can drag them by their coats or by the collar of their shirt and drag them outside. This has occurred continuously, multiple times by law enforcement, and it would be great that these events would be deemed as police brutality. Currently, per the community, many of these acts are considered as just mild acts that is allowed by law enforcement. What I'm noticing is it's creating a racial environment, meaning they're attacking primarily the Black community, they're attacking primarily the homeless community. Additionally, the cosmetic funding for law enforcement, yet again, we're seeing more cosmetic funding to the sums of $80,000 to put up a fence. We constantly buying new cars and body cam, et cetera, et cetera. To me, that is, it's more or less promoting law enforcement's behavior. They're very aggressive, they're very rude, especially to the homeless community. And with all of these gifts, these awards, what it does is it just enhances the behavior all over again. So with the homeless community, we're getting countless amounts of medical issues, broken arms, eyes, glasses, clothes, personal items just completely being taken away. In addition to that, before I close, the consideration of the crimes victims' laws. This is something that is being omitted when being encountered by law enforcement. This information is being omitted when interacting with the courthouse, with judges, with lawyers. I am currently on a case right now where I have a victim and this information can't even be presented to the courts. I've asked for various amount of due processes which will allow the victim to be heard in court. According to the Child Craft Building, there isn't an opportunity for an individual to even present the laws or the crimes being held against them or being done towards them in the light of the court. So that is something that I wanted to make mention of, and especially the no trespass. Is that right? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, please.
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. Well, it's the second meeting of a new city commission. We have 2 new commissioners, and in January we will have a new city manager. So this is an appropriate time for the commission to consider its standard operating procedures. So I have 4 suggestions for you. The first of them relate to the commission's 25 advisory boards. On your regular meeting agenda, regular business meetings, under communications or the city manager's report or the city clerk's report, if there are any vacancies on any of the city's 25 advisory boards, it would be nice if those would be mentioned during the meeting. Now Chris thought they should be in the agenda, but many people I've heard that they either that they put the city commission meetings on their computer or whatever and kind of listen to them while they're doing housework. So having that mentioned would be a lot easier for them. That would add no more than 30 seconds to your meeting, or some meetings that would add 0. Suggestion 2, now Mayor Anderson, Manager Moore, and Clerk Borling will remember that when I started attending city commission meetings on October 1, 2012, that the city manager would read the entire schedule of advisory board meetings occurring from that meeting up until the next regular meeting, which would be 2 or 3 weeks worth of meetings. Fortunately, when Jim Ritzma took over, that was ended, but it was replaced here in the City Commission chambers on these video monitors that we have here and over here, and there's one in front, the schedule of the meetings for the next 2. Right now, when we come to the meetings and we're sitting here, we just see a static image up there, and it's just kind of going to waste. So it'd be nice if that schedule, chronologically ordered, of the advisory boards was to go up back on those video monitors before the meeting. Suggestion 3 is I wish the commission would make better use of its 25 advisory boards. This includes the Environmental Concerns Commission, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Historic Preservation Commission, and so on. When there are items on the agenda that are relevant to a particular existing advisory board, say Parks Ordinance, it would be nice if the city attorney or other staff would send those through the relevant advisory board first before they come to the commission and get that board's review. I've seen a number of amendments to parks ordinances over the past decade, and never once have I ever seen that any of those have ever gone through the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Unless there's some urgency to passing those, and usually there's not, it would be nice if they could go from staff to the Parks and Recreation Board to the Commission, and then that would be in there. Fourth and final suggestion, if I can remember what it is, up until about January 2019, I believe, there was a written city manager's report in the agenda packet that included a list of all of the administratively approved budget items below $100,000. Everything $100,000 or more appears at least on the consent agenda, sometimes a regular agenda. But things below that, down to, I don't know, $50,000, would be listed in that city manager's report as administratively approved. And for example, when the city gave the mission $97,000 last January, that was not on the agenda. The mission claims they don't get tax dollars. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in the chambers who would like to make a comment during this public comment period?
Hi, my name is Shona Espinoza, and I live in the city. I think that we want to know or have a request or whatever for those funds that have been given to organizations or individuals, so we know that the money is being used in the right way for those that have been given money to help those in the community, like our unhoused. I think making sure those funds have been used in the right way would be a good thing. Because our unhoused, they deserve the best. And what I have seen out here is there's some organizations or certain people that aren't treating our unhoused in the most kindly way, and that's not fair. They're people just like you and I am. And if they're giving money to do certain things, they shouldn't treat them in a bad way, because that's not how I think people should be treated. But thank you guys, whoever's helped with this overnight shelter. This is something that should have rolled out years ago. And I'm hoping it's gonna be something that's continued, because we don't want nobody out here freezing. We have babies out here, we have vets out here, we have seniors out here, we have disabled, and they need to be sheltered. It's cold outside, and I didn't even want to come here. I came here only because this is something that's dear to my heart. And our unhoused, they're a big part of our community, and I want people to start taking them seriously. We shouldn't allow anybody to mistreat them. I don't care if you are the KDPS, you're the sheriff, you're the commission, you're the governor. They're people just like us. Just because they're not housed in a way that we are doesn't make them less than human beings. They're people that can thrive and be functional in our community if given the right tools and not have so many barriers that are in place to keep them from getting what they need. Because even myself, I struggle with mental health, but I've been able to overcome it because I know where I need to go and get those services. But can you just imagine being out on the street, not having a safe place, not having a meal, not being warm, and having to worry about your safety being outside? That's the first thing, is you don't have a place to call home. So things that me and you think are normal, thinking about our mental health, that's not the first thing on their mind. The first thing on their mind is survival and making sure that they're okay. So us as a city and us as a community, we need to make sure that they're taken care of, because it's not only grown people out here on the streets. There's children, there's babies, there's infants, there's our vets. They shouldn't even be out on the street no matter what, because they serve this country. They should always have a place to go. Our seniors are out here. Can you imagine being a 70-plus-year-old man and having health issues, and you're out on the street and you can barely take care of yourself when you're housed? Can you imagine when that big, beautiful bill rolled out, how many people are going to be struggling with health care? If you're on Medicaid and you're an adult, they give you a certain amount that you have to hit by monthly, and mine is $1,260. So I don't have no insurance until I hit that deductible monthly. So I hit it, and the first of the month, it starts all over, and I don't have no coverage. So that means everything comes out my pocket until I hit $1,260 monthly. Think about that, and I'm a single parent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi there. My name is Tom Howes. I'm returning to raise an issue that I've brought up before. That's about the public participation policy, city's public participation policy, and specifically staff reports that require their acknowledgement, or staff reports that require projects that take use of the policy. After reviewing the November 6, 2025 PC staff report, the one that everybody's probably familiar with regarding the Asylum Lake adjacent property, again, there are following points that seem clear in terms of how the city composes staff reports and thinks about these issues as they're thinking of recommendations. And this is related to a host of just about any other project or initiative that the city is considering. In that report, there was no summary or analysis of public participation resulting from city or applicant public participation efforts. The PC staff report provided only one-way reporting, mailers sent, meetings held with no evidence that the public input was gathered, synthesized, or integrated at any kind of level expected of this project. That has, ramifications in terms of how any commission interprets public sentiment. Number two, public participation played no role in the final staff recommendation. Several pages in the staff report were devoted to the applicant's rationale, contextual framing, and how it aligned with city plans. Meanwhile, public participation perspectives were not represented at all. And that policy states the city action should align with public participation to the greatest extent possible. I have to say public participation a lot here. One reason for this large gap in the policy and its reflection in staff reporting is that the 49-page public participation policy dedicates almost its entirety how and why public participation happens. And in those 49 pages, only 4 sentences are dedicated to describing what happens after public actually participates. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But those 4 sentences are: communicating results. It's essential that public participants are briefed on how their input shaped the decision-making process. This is an important time to thank participants and create excitement around a completed project. This promotes transparency and community ownership over a given project, and also provides valuable information for residents who may not have had a chance to participate in the process. It's clear that those 4 sentences to do very little to, quote, promote transparency and community ownership over a project, and it feels like more of a well-intended goal than a meaningful policy. So I really hope that the city takes a closer look at this as kind of in a more serious way in how we actually compose staff reports, because they do have consequences on any project. Specifically, maybe this means, you know, taking a second look at the public participation policy and really dedicating a lot more than 4 sentences to how that input is actually integrated into our staff reporting. I don't have any more time, but I'd love to talk more about this. I'm available. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers who'd like to take advantage of the public comment period? I'll close the public comment period. I want to thank everyone that came and took the time, made the effort to express their feelings on a variety of topics here at our business meeting. Next is the consent agenda G. Manager Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. We have in front of us 23 items on the consent agenda this evening. First one being approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Justice Fence for temporary and permanent fencing on the 150 East Crosstown facility renovation project in the amount of $78,136. Number 2, approval of a contract with Republic Services for transportation and disposal of plant screenings in the amount of $100,800. Approval of a 1-year contract renewal with Plant Moran Real Point for real estate underwriting consulting services in the amount of $105,000. Approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Mall City Mechanical for fire protection on the 150 East Crosstown facility renovation project in the amount of $112,963. Approval of a contract with Annaland Corporation for the South Street pedestrian bridge repair in the amount of $118,919.86. Approval of a change order with RAM Construction Services for parking ramp concrete repairs at the Epic and Kalamazoo Mall parking ramps in the amount of $227,903. Approval of a professional service agreement with Jones & Henry Engineers for professional construction engineering services for the ML Avenue and 35th Street transmission water main project in the amount of $289,500. Approval of a professional services agreement with Jones & Henry Engineers Limited for construction, administration, and engineering consulting services in support of the Newton, Connecticut Fellows Avenue and John Street Improvement Project in the amount of $295,500. Approval of the purchase of Cisco switches, controllers, and wireless access points as part of the hardware life cycle replacement from Trace 3 in the amount of $349,069.70. Approval of a contract with Wildlands Constructions, LLC for the Millam Park Portage Creek Stream Restoration Project in the amount of $356,347.26. Approval of a sole source purchase of odor control chemicals, D3W Industries, for biosolids processing in the amount of $529,155. Approval of a 3-year sole source agreement with Zhang Financial LLC for investment consulting services in the amount of $558,000. Approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Carrier and Gable for traffic signal maintenance supplies in the amount of $600,000. Approval of the purchase of a Vector 2100i from McQueen Equipment through the My Deal Cooperative Purchasing Program in the amount of $610,500. Approval of a contract supplemental and change order with USP Technologies for 2026 Prytech odor control services in the amount of $627,000. Adoption of a resolution approving an amendment to the Brownfield Plan for the 700 block of North Burdick Street. Adoption of resolutions approving changes in the street lighting contract with Consumers Energy for 335 Kalamazoo Avenue. Adoption of a resolution recommending approval of a social district permit for HB Social Ventures LLC, DBA Alicat, located at 266 East Michigan Avenue, Suite B, Kalamazoo, Michigan 49007. Adoption of a resolution approving the schedule of regular city commission meetings for the 2026 calendar year. Adoption of a resolution approving an amended and restated water leak adjustments policy, City Commission Policy 60.2, as provided for in Chapter 38 of the Kalamazoo City Code. Acceptance of a distribution from the Mayor's Riverfront Park Endowment Fund for 2025 operational support in the amount of $63,975 and approval of a budget amendment of $48,975. Number 24, approval of the appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. The appointment of Richard Emming to the Building Board of Appeals for a term expiring on March 31st, 2027. The appointment of Sarah Joshi to the Water System Advisory Council for a term expiring on December 31st, 2026. And approval of the minutes from the 7 p.m. City Commission business meeting on November 17, 2025. That is the consent agenda.
Quite a list. Thank you very much, Commissioner Moore. I appreciate that. Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 21 and 24 and 25, and authorize the city manager to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hess. Clerk Boren, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Next is H, regular agenda. City Manager Moore. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Pradle vote? Oh, Commissioner.
I vote yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Did you miss somebody?
I did? Okay. I thought I got it. Commissioner Hess. Okay.
Thank you, team. Team sport. Now with the regular agenda, Manager Moore.
On the regular agenda, we will have consent agenda item number 22, approval of an Economic Development Corporation Economic Initiative Fund loan to Winston's LLC in the amount of $35,000.
Thank you so much. So just as a reminder for everyone here is that this was item G22 and is now item H1 on the regular agenda. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, do we have anybody? Oh, it looks like we got somebody to speak to it. I just wanted to hear, what the funding is going for before we sent that out the door.
All right.
Okay. Well, perfect. So yes, my name is Bobby Boyd. I'm the Economic Development Supervisor here with the City of Kalamazoo. Me and my team oversee the Economic Initiative Fund. So this fund will be used as gap financing for businesses in the community that will be adding economic opportunity here in the city. So it's not funding for a project, it's just gap financing for wherever they may have a gap in putting the complete construction together. So with this particular development, it's at Winston's LLC at 224 East Michigan Avenue. They're building a bar in that area. They did have some unbeknownst extra construction costs, as you know, with a lot of construction projects, moving some stairs from the middle of the floor to the side, so they needed a little additional funds to make that happen and complete the project. One of the questions we do ask with this fund is make sure what kind of economic opportunities it will offer to the city if we do help them move forward with the project. I do want to share that this project will be adding 10 full-time jobs in the Kalamazoo area, including 5 part-time jobs in the Kalamazoo area as well. So it will have an economic impact if we make sure that they bring this this development to fruition. So we are awarding them $35,000 for a project that in total cost is $400,000 to move forward.
Other questions, Vice Mayor Duncan?
No, that's all. Thank you so much.
All right, perfect.
Any other questions, commissioners? Commissioner Selby?
Could you confirm whether the city has a policy in place right now with regards to paying back the loan? So are they able, what I understand is if they cannot receive another loan like this from the city until they pay this one back. Is that correct?
Director Mitchell?
Yes, there is stipulations if there's a default or they're late in payments, or even if they have other commitments that they have not followed through with the city, with taxes and things like that, that could put them in default for receiving any additional funding. But they can get additional funding if they have multiple projects. That's not abnormal for them to have multiple loans for multiple projects under the same development companies.
So they can have multiple loans?
If it's a development company for certain development projects, yes. We can assist with multiple development projects throughout the city.
So we don't have a policy in place where if they don't pay back the first loan, they can't receive another one?
Correct. Your statement, second portion of that question is a little bit different. The answer is no, they would not be able to get another loan if they default on the first loan.
But we do simultaneously provide people with multiple loans?
Yes, we have in the past.
Okay. And what is the criteria in which we take a look at and evaluate a business on whether we provide them this gap financing?
I would probably have to get back with you with more information in writing on what that criteria would be.
Okay, and how do we currently promote that to businesses, that this is an opportunity that they can participate in?
Pretty much we promote it through our website mostly. We don't do any advertisement like we did in the past. In the past, we used to do a lot of advertisement with the Kalamazoo Gazette. That's not a tool we utilize anymore, so we mostly promote it through our boards and through the website, our city website, underneath economic development.
And would you be able to speak to the source of how this company found out about this? Was the referral source through the website, or?
Let me see if Bobby knows that.
Yeah, so it was through the website, but we also talk with the developers as well, just letting them know that a lot of developers come to us asking if there's any opportunities to help them move forward with projects and any type of programs or funding that we have available. So we do show them our list of funding sources and help that we can provide, and this is one of the opportunities that we have available. So if it fits the criteria and adds to economic growth within the city, this is an opportunity they can take advantage of as well.
Thank you.
Other questions, commissioners? All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Since this is a regular agenda item, now is the opportunity for anyone who's here in the chambers to comment on this item. If you're interested, please come forward. Remember, this is just on what was item G22.
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. Since the commissioners were asking about who uses these loans and where and all that, the commission approved one of these loans like 4 meetings ago. It was for a roof repair, partial roof repair of the former Dairy Queen Taco Bob's on Southwestage at Pioneer for the Kazoo Cream cookie business. My friend Christy Potts. That's another example of that. By the way, she's going to be open on Christmas Day. If you're looking to buy some food on Christmas Day, she's going to be open Christmas Day until noon. That's Kazoo Cream Cookies, Southwestage at Pioneer, just before Crosstown. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers that would like to comment on this item specifically?
I'm not exactly familiar with the process, so with this item, the commission, meaning you all will be granting them the funding. Is that how that goes, or is that how it goes?
So this is an opportunity, this is not a time for dialogue, but it's an opportunity for you to express any interest or concern you have in this particular topic.
Okay, well, I do see all of the potential funding kind of floating through all of the items, specifically that one. So I guess what I wanted to retro back to is maybe potentially looking back at the services that I were referencing to, because those services also, well, what I'm noticing is we're not getting the funding. The funding is granted to these items and items similar to it for construction, new businesses, small ones. That typically only employs 2 or more people. So with the services that I'm referring to, we're losing employees, meaning the victim services, we didn't get our funding, so we're losing services, we're losing our shelters, we're losing housing. So I was just maybe saying, you know, as far as maybe considering reintroducing funding for our victim services, for warming shelters, for homeless shelters and other entities to help the unhoused and the crime victims industry with all of their various necessities. But yes, essentially, they're cutting our funding. I'm looking at all of this funding literally about to get approved to close to the sum of several $1 million, or to the sum of $1 million, 2 or 3. And we're still not tending to, for one, the victims that are being assaulted out here. In addition to that, the services that are already in place is literally about to get wiped out. They're literally taking their jobs away. I literally have people from the YWCA that says their jobs is coming to an end as of today because of funding. And there are victims out here that need that help. As I mentioned before, even being able to present a victim or a assault case before the court is completely denied. There isn't even a streamlined service that allows us to even stand before a judge and say, these were the crimes done against us. We understand what law enforcement can administer to us in regards to trespass and all these various other things, but we don't have an opportunity to speak. They literally have continuous streamlined barriers that says we can't even talk. We can't even say law enforcement slammed me on the ground and broke my shoulder and I hadn't been able to return to work and lift 50 pounds or more. We can't say that. So essentially that is something that I'm looking at as close to $2 million to businesses that only employ.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this item at this time? Seeing no more comments, Commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Duncan.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion, Commissioners? All right, seeing none, Clerk Boiling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Slavy.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Got everybody that time, right? All right. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is item H2, which was formerly G23. Manager Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of a request from the Kalamazoo Country Club for a permit to publicly display fireworks at 1609 Whites Road on Wednesday, December 31st.
Thank you. Commissioner Slavy.
Can I just make my comments? Okay. So listen, this sounds great. And I think it's awesome to celebrate New Year's. I think that's a day in which most people expect fireworks, so this is not a random event. My focus and what I'd like to encourage my fellow commissioners, vice mayor and mayor, and city manager Moore to think about and reflect on is what's noted in the report under engagement. It notes that the public will be made aware of the project. Just from someone that has done engagement and marketing and just overall organizing, often general outreach doesn't always reach the most impacted. I'm very familiar with many of our residents' concerns related to noise pollution, being a common complaint, whether it's about Kalamazoo College games or the cannon from Western Michigan or traffic down West Main. Fireworks also are no different. And when we think about it, people often with PTSD are impacted by it, or other people, it's just not something that they care for. And so I think about what does it look like for us to be good stewards in this work and encourage our partners like Kalamazoo Country Club to think about how they're reaching the most immediate neighbors around the country club to inform them. Right, not everyone's going to be looking out for a flyer from Kalamazoo Country Club to see what they're doing, so they may not know that that is happening. And I think about our public participation policy, which someone brought up earlier today, in which, it's really our opportunity to work with our partners, with our neighbors and other stakeholders to continue to build trust and open communication. One thing that I saw really go a long way is when residents would bring up concerns about noise pollution to Western or K College during neighborhood association meetings. Western started reaching out to the neighborhood associations directly the week of a game, letting them know, hey, we have a home game, cannon might, go off because we might win, so please let your neighbors know. And it really went a long way because now people can plan, maybe they won't be in town, or maybe they know, just to expect it, right? And so I think it's an opportunity to think about, again, how to be good neighbors. And so I would love to see what the city is doing consistently to have a practice in place to be able to encourage this type of communication to the residents. And what I'm talking about is targeted outreach, right? So for zoning public hearings or other things, what we look at is within a 300 feet, radius, these are the people that get informed of the public hearing because we deem that they are the most impacted. Is there something that we could share as suggestions to someone like Kalamazoo Country Club or someone looking at doing something like this so that they're aware, oh, this might be a nice thing. So instead of getting complaints from people not knowing that this was going to happen, that they can at least know that they've informed people that will be most impacted ahead of it. So I don't mean to make this a big deal because I love fireworks and Happy New Year's, everyone. But I thought that I would take this as an opportunity to talk about public participation policy and say that I don't think we have a consistent system in place to be able to continue to encourage our stakeholders and partners to utilize our public participation policy effectively. And this is just an example in which I think we missed the mark on our ability to encourage them to do the proper outreach that is needed, even for something as simple as letting people know that there's going to be fireworks happening near where they live, and they can do whatever they need to do to anticipate that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, commissioners, at this time? Commissioner Bradel.
I'm just curious if anyone knows, I should probably know the answer to this, but is there plans this year to have fireworks as usual downtown?
Yes, actually, their application, I received it last week. We'll be bringing that forward at the next commission meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Borley. Seeing no other questions from commission, now is the opportunity for anyone who's here in the chambers to comment on this item. If you would like, you have 3 minutes. Please come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city, unless you've already done that 3 times.
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. Adding to what Commissioner Slavy said regarding fireworks being a problem with people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, fireworks are also a problem for many pets. Some people say that dogs think they're dying when they hear fireworks. I'm not so sure about these country club fireworks being a problem, but definitely mid-June through mid-August, Commissioner Slavy lives in the Vine neighborhood. She probably sees all the lost pet signs that go up that time of year. So it would be nice if public safety was a little more responsive on enforcing the fireworks ordinances during that time of year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to comment on this item?
Hi, Tom Howes, 2716 Mockingbird. I didn't think I'd be commenting on fireworks tonight, but similarly, I don't want to, I like fireworks too, but I do feel that the city does have a pretty substantial fireworks show. I do question whether or not, I mean, from this line item here, what's the extent of the fireworks display? I mean, is it going to be an hour-long event? Is it open to the? Is this a private event? It's a private club. So I mean, just even at first glance, I've only looked at this for 5 minutes. There seem to be a lot of questions that don't have answers, or questions that haven't even been asked yet. And echoing previous comments. In addition to the city's beautiful fireworks displays, we do have, I mean, Kalamazoo has no shortage of private residents blasting pretty extreme fireworks a week before and a week after. So I wouldn't particularly support a private country club getting a special permit to do so, or, you know, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here in the chambers would like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson.
Support.
Supported by Commissioners Slavy. Discussion, commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Hess.
Yeah, I think this is an annual thing that we've approved. However, you bring a valid point up that people need to know that that's an evening and a night to be aware that there will be fireworks going everywhere. They're legal. There's by state law, they're legal.
Memorial Day, Labor Day, Juneteenth,
Yeah.
4th of July.
Into the mic, just.
Yeah, so anyway, they are legal for citizens to put off. So if you do suffer from PTSD, if you do have a pet, if you do have a hard time with fireworks, please know that fireworks in general, not just the fireworks here downtown or at the country club, will be going off. People are celebrating on New Year's, so just an awareness.
Commissioner Prater.
Commissioner Slavy, I appreciate you bringing this up because I think, I don't know if anyone else heard the fireworks, but we approved the fireworks at the CMU Western game. I think it was in the end of October. I've kind of lost track of time. But the thing that was really bizarre about it, it was there were basically across the whole city, people were hearing noises that they couldn't figure out what the noise was. And I don't know what it was about that particular fireworks show, but it really carried. What saying?
No leaves.
Yeah, I think different theories people were saying because the leaves were gone or older, you know, I don't know, whatever the theories were, but it carried throughout the whole city. And in fact, my wife, whose office is over off of Portage Road, over by 94, heard the fireworks all the way over there and was like calling me saying, hey, do you have any idea what that loud noise is? I think the hard part about that particular situation is the practicality. How do you know whether it's going to carry or how far it's going to carry? Because in most instances, fireworks are going to be heard way beyond 300 feet. And so I think it brings up a good point of like, that maybe it could be examined, but just questioning how effectively that would work. Most WMU fireworks situations, I don't think the sound carried like it did that night. I also do kind of wonder about, depending on the extent of how large of a fireworks display it is, whether it necessitates having two competing fireworks displays going on in the city at the same night. But either way, I just think this is something that's come up every year, and I'm going to support it in this particular case, but I do think it's worth exploring further.
Thank you, Commissioner Priddle. Commissioner Slavy.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, my main focus is thinking about how we operationalize our public participation policy effectively. It's not about the fireworks. Again, I'm going to support the fireworks here for the country club. I think that a really good practice, as I mentioned earlier, that went a long way and it was so simple and free, right, was Western noted government relations, shout out to Lisa Garcia, they said, wow, this upsets you. And all they had to do was send an email out to the neighborhood association, which covers more than 300 feet, right, in West Main Hill, the week leading up to it, saying, hey, a reminder, we're going to have a home game, cannon might come out. And they did that, and a lot of people appreciated that. And so that's a simple thing that, it sounds like our fire marshal is the one that overviews this permit. It could be put in as part of the letter, of the approval letter, to say, hey, we would encourage you, as part of, being a good neighbor, is to just reach out to the Oakwood Neighborhood Association, Oakland Drive and Winchell Neighborhood Association, or depending on, how this impacts, but in this specific case, it's those two neighborhoods, and to let them know, reach out to them so that they can inform their neighbors. They have newsletters, they have meetings, they have other ways to share. And again, this is a small thing, but it adds up to the larger way that we consistently apply our public participation policy. And this is, I think, a good example to reflect on it and understand what systems in place do city staff use to consistently apply this, not just within CPED where this originated, our Community Planning Economic Development Department, but how this is being applied across our department, because this is a question that is asked in all of our staff reports that are required to be submitted for each of our items. And I want to make sure people, as city staff, understand how to use them and to actually genuinely think about this participation policy and how that might apply to each of these items that they put forth before us. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Slavy. Other comments on this item? All right, seeing none, Clerk Bowen, please call a roll.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Abstain.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Prado.
Yes.
Commissioner Slavy.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. The motion passes. Now, next on our agenda is what was item H1 and is now our third regular agenda item. Manager Moore.
Approval of a contract with Hurley and Stewart for the design of Arcadia Creek Phases 1, Kalamazoo Avenue to West Main, Phase 2, West Main to Lovell, and Phase 3, Lovell to Oliver, in the amount of $2,500,000 funded through a Protect grant.
Thank you, Manager Moore. Is there a staff report on this item?
There is not. There is no staff.
No staff report, but staff available for
Yes.
questions if necessary. Questions, Commissioners, on item H1? Commissioner Slavy.
I know a lot of residents that have brought up items that are related to the arena like to point to this type of work and reference this as something in which the city is contributing funding to the arena project as part of this. And so I was wondering if city staff could maybe touch on that and discuss how this, while benefiting that area, is a separate project and isn't necessarily for the arena, but for the city, or they can, say otherwise. But I would love to maybe have them speak on that point because that's something that's been brought up by the community.
Thank you, Commissioner Slavy. I see Director Baker coming forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Your Honor. This project is a Protect grant project that's been referred to in multiple phases. This project seeks to provide flood relief within a specific floodplain area along Arcadia Creek. Arcadia Creek has been modernized in the area from Westnedge east to its outfall in the Kalamazoo River. In the early 90s, that work was completed in around 1992 and includes the Arcadia Creek Festival site. That was part of a bigger project plan to continue that modernization and proper sizing of that conduit or culvert section all the way west into where that current project limits are now, but that work was kind of stopped due to funding constraints at that time. We have long sought to continue that work west. That work was estimated at around $15 million when we started to build the project sizing for FFE, although that project was never brought to fruition in its current state. That cross-section of channel that lies under the Allen Platte neighborhood is approximately 12 times too small, so it cannot convey the kind of flows we need during flood flow events, and things like Western Michigan University's Waldo Stadium getting flooded out during rain events is something that has occurred. Commissioners may be aware of an event that occurred in 2017 that put the stadium underwater. And that also impacts our neighborhood around the West Main area and traffic as well. So staff applied for a federal program under the Transportation Department to provide for flood relief, and then also connect transportation resources from non-motorized from the campus of Western Michigan University into downtown. That project was ultimately awarded and successful. We then took where we were at with that project and combined resources with the arena project, and we were able to complete approximately $15 million of work on phase 0. That's connecting where that east terminus is of that work that was done in 1992 along the Westnedge corridor, and then moving the channel to the north where it's going to intercept its new route along Michigan. So that phase 0 work was funded in part by the arena project, but the city itself is not funding the arena project. So it was actually the opposite, in that the arena provided approximately $7 million of funding towards our phase 0 for this project itself, and allowed us to kind of get started on the project. So some of the challenge with building a new culvert for a creek when we have an existing creek that's live is that we can't just build the new culvert in place. We've got to build a new one, and then when we're ready, transfer the flow of the old one. So the old one has to keep running the whole time. And so we were able to kind of coordinate those resources with the arena development and their work that they're doing right now in that footprint. So hopefully that answers everything. It's a bit of a long-winded answer, but I had to kind of bring you forward from where we left off in 1992.
Thank you, Director Baker. Further questions? Commissioner Slavy?
Thank you. As someone who helped put together the Stewart Neighborhood Association plan, one of the top concerns was mitigating flooding, and so it sounds like through this work, we'll actually be able to directly impact the Stewart residents that live right there positively, because as we know, if you're in a floodplain, you have to carry flood insurance, which is quite costly. So I don't know if that necessarily gets rid of that for the residents through this work, but I think we're taking a step in the right direction. My last question related to this is, does this help us reopen Academy Street, or is that a separate culvert that needs to be reconstructed?
So great questions. I'll start with the first one. This project will eliminate the entire floodplain area along Arcadia Creek from Westnedge Avenue and then running west to Oliver. So that's going to come in a few different stages. There's a lot of regulatory aspects behind that, but that was the design intent, is to be able to convey all flows, including flood flows, within that new channel conveyance system. This work will also include crossings at West Main, so there'll be a new culvert at West Main, there'll be a new culvert at Academy, and this will reopen Academy as well. If you've been looking at the new Michigal Street and wondering what the space to the south is that looks a little bit like a unfinished canvas, that's going to be the future home of Arcadia Creek. So that was kind of built into that space there, and you can kind of see the space that we're kind of setting aside for that channel.
All set, Commissioner Slavin? Any other questions for Director Baker on this topic? Okay, thank you, Director Baker. I appreciate it. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this item? This is a regular agenda item H1. Please come to the podium. Just a reminder, you'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
Yes. Good evening again, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Stevens. I'm a homeowner at 213 Elm Street in the Stewart neighborhood. I just wanted to voice my support for this project. It floods in front of my house on Elm Street every time we have a major downpour. It also results in traffic patterns changing at the last minute, which puts pedestrians in jeopardy, where people are swerving to try to get out of the deeper water. I've actually reviewed this plan pretty thoroughly, and I was impressed with the attention to creating it more of a natural ecosystem and getting rid of some of the concrete that comes right up to the creek. I also remember the Free the Creek movement from the 1990s, so I guess I just wanted to say I really appreciate your endorsement of this project today.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello. Well, I can see the good things about this project. I think it becomes a question of what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because we're talking about an expansion that was caused by the arena, but the city's not directly putting money into it, but the arena did a good thing, but the arena shouldn't be a thing. And we shouldn't be doing this because we need capacity for the arena, right? I feel like that's the thing that we're kind of like circling around, is that this expansion is happening because the arena needs the capacity. And while good things are happening from this project, I commend it, absolutely. Whenever mitigation of flooding happens, it's great. But it still stands that the city is still investing $2 million, over $2 million in a project like that is not viable for the city. In the long run, it's not viable. The congestion hasn't been figured out. How we're gonna do the traffic? It's still not paying livable wages for people. What kind of gentrification is gonna happen from these projects, right? We could talk about flood mitigation. We could talk about the improvements in it since 1982, and the failed everything. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's multifaceted, and we can't lose the plot. Lose the plot that this arena is not a good thing for this community. I want people to make sure that when we get small strides from the city, we need to see what bigger sacrifices the communities are making, especially the Black community on the north side, who's already going through an environmental crisis, and y'all still haven't figured out how to mitigate the congestion that this arena is going to bring, and the fact that it's not going to pay a livable wage, and the fact that we should be having a green space. What about Central Park in Kalamazoo, right? It's turning into a heat island. So the bigger implications of this cannot be lost by the strides that are being made, because it still stands true that the city is still investing money in the infrastructure for this arena. It still stands true that there's not really a plan for how this is going to support the community that it is impacting. Okay, and it might help some communities. I commend that 100%. I'm not trying to minimize that, but I'm trying to put this into perspective for people. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this item?
Well, my concern with the redevelopment, like many of them, is the waste. I'm going to revert back to my original statement, the unhoused, the homeless. I'm not exactly sure you all are familiar with the capacity on how a person ends up outside and walking outside 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Resources aren't available. When an individual is exposed to the elements outside, they're also exposed to the redevelopment, which includes the turning up of soil, huge. When they turn up soil, they turn up brick, they turn up the sewer, they turn up electric. One of the key things that I want to want this panel to consider, is the hazardous waste. You're now looking at the sewer being turned up. Now you've got the unhoused being outside. That causes health issues, vomiting, other various health issues. We got epilepsy, fainting, et cetera, as a result of the electricity panels always being disrupted. Most importantly, which really disturbs me the most, is the electrical chemical components that comes with all this construction. So when they turn up the soil and they redo all of the electrical panels out here, it disrupts the electricity, which raises our electricity bill, and it causes, which is a voice-activated effect, which basically means our electric outlets began to talk. We start to hear the construction workers talking through the electricity because they literally rerouted the phone lines for the whole city. They'll reroute the electricity so that our homes is paying 70% of the electric costs for the adjacent business. When with the energy services that we sustain on an individual basis in our home, it doesn't even come to the sum of $20. $20. Our refrigerators, our stoves doesn't even produce $20 worth of a bill. But if it is wired to the adjacent business across the street, our bills is looking at $200+. So we're looking at $200 to $300 a month in electricity because we're paying for the adjacent business and our outlets is talking to us. And high voltage electricity is seeping through. So now you've got health concerns with epilepsy, paralysis, vomiting, because waste and hazardous waste is being exposed. It's the awareness that I think would be considered, should be taken into consideration, notifying the public, like, these are the health issues that you will endure during this time. Take safety measures. I think the city has failed to produce that. I think the city has failed to produce a panel of individuals that can compile documentation to put out to the public so they are aware of what to expect next.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this item, H1? Seeing no one else, the recommended action, Commissioners, is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hess, supported by Commissioner Wilson. Discussion, Commissioners? Commissioner Slavy.
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe clarify some things. So from my understanding, this $2.5 million is not coming from the city. It's coming from a grant we received to do this specific work, correct? Okay. Through the Protect grant, which is a federal grant, Director Baker, yes? Yes, okay. And I appreciate the public comments around this subject, which is why I asked the question at the initially, because I wanted to better understand, this project's relationship to the private arena work that's going on. Based on Director Baker's information he shared tonight, my understanding is, and Director Baker, please correct me if I'm wrong, or I don't know if city staff can come up, but this is a project we've been trying to get off the ground since, honestly, we did the reopening of the creek, the daylighting of the creek, decades ago. But we've just not have had the funding to complete, to get that project moving. Something always comes up, we have to put it on the back burner. And one of the issues is that culvert collapsing at Academy, which has closed that street for a couple years now. And so this is a separate project that we've been trying to do for several years now. We just haven't had all the funding. The arena, which is a private development, has figured out how to get their project off the ground. And there's been conversations with the arena on, hey, we're doing this other project over here that does benefit the arena, but is something we've been trying to do. And the developers in the arena, or who's ever, supporting the funding through that company, agreed to support that project we've been trying to do for several years. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, that's correct. It's very well summarized. The project need has been in place since 1974, when the section running through St. Augustine's Cathedral collapsed. This improvement has been in a plan since the early 90s, and we've just now been able to be successful in identifying a funding source, that federal source. This work would be funded under stormwater, which at present, stormwater is not a utility. Stormwater is essentially a resource within the streets, dollars, and funded through Act 51. The only relationship with the arena is that we have partnered with the arena project and received over $7 million of funding from the arena project to make this flood mitigation project a reality in our current terms. Speaking about the capacity issues, this project is not needed for the arena. The arena is downstream, so the arena exists in an area of creek that was improved in 1992, and so the arena project could move forward without these upstream improvements happening. The only time that they come together is in phase 0 in that work in West Edge Avenue, which the arena development has partnered with the city to perform this work, kind of coinciding with the work that they were completing. So it's been a great partnership, and certainly a great opportunity for the city to mitigate some flood issues that have been that we've been dealing with for a long time.
So, and maybe I'm just repeating exactly what you just said. The arena project, the private development, is moving forward with or without this work that we're deciding to do through the Protect grant. However, if we did not receive that $7 million, which is, okay, fine, right? Maybe we don't accept it. It would continue to be on pause until we find funding elsewhere.
Correct.
But the arena continues.
Correct. The arena can move forward with or without this project.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Baker. Any other discussion, commissioners? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is formerly item H2. Now we're down, it's, I guess, the fourth item, isn't it? City Manager Moore.
Approval of a purchase agreement for the sale of 459 North Rose Street to Kalamazoo County for the sale price of $200,000.
Thank you so much. I presume there's not necessarily a staff report on this item. Is that correct?
No staff report. The staff is
Questions, commissioners, on this item? For staff? Commissioner Hess.
Just a comment or a question, perhaps for Attorney Leal. The current contract under this item includes Manager Richmond's signature line for the contract. Before we vote on this, do we need to ask the clerk to change that signature line? Just how do we make that official?
And you can just point it out that if the contract is approved, then it would be subject to a change in the signature line to reflect interim city manager Patsy Moore's signature.
Can we do that? Thank you.
No questions for staff then. So now is the opportunity for anyone who's in the audience who'd like to comment on this item. This item now H4, come to the podium, give us your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. Seeing no comments, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Commissioners, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Duncan.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Slaby. Further discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is item H5. Manager Moore.
First reading of an ordinance to amend certain sections of Chapter 38 of the Kalamazoo City Code to change the rates charged for drinking water effective January 1st, 2026.
Thank you so much, Manager Moore. I see Director Baker coming forward here.
There's a brief staff report.
Yes. So, would you like to make a presentation here, Director Baker? Or?
I'm available. I can go over anything the commission wants to go over. We had an in-depth presentation at the committee of the whole meeting, so I don't need to go into full depth and detail, but I'm available if commissioners have any questions.
Yeah, just as a reminder for anyone who may have missed it, a very detailed and helpful explanation about this entire item was on our committee of the whole agenda. That is all available for viewing. It's recorded and out there. Not sure how quickly they post it, but right away almost, according to Clerk Borling. Any particular questions for Director Baker at this time from Commission? Also, just a reminder that we are setting a hearing on this tonight. We're not voting in affirmative on the action itself. I think we're all set, Director Baker. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience like to comment on this item? It's item now H5. Seeing no one, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman.
Support.
Supported by, Commissioner Prater. Thank you so much. Discussion, Commission? All right, seeing none, just a reminder about this action here is that we are, this is offering the ordinance for first reading, and we will be acting on this at our December 15th meeting. Is that correct, Manager Moore?
That is correct.
That is correct. Okay, thank you so much. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Manager Moore.
Regular agenda item number 6, first reading of an ordinance to rezone the property at 4301 Stadium Drive from residential multi-dwelling and residential single dwelling to community commercial.
Thank you so much. We're having a little technical difficulties up here, so watch your, are we all set? Thank you. So I see that Bobby Durkee is here with us, so do you have a report for us, sir?
I do. I'm guessing Clerk Borling's working on pulling it up now. A brief report. All right. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, new Commissioners, and Interim Commissioner Moore. I'm the Assistant City Planner for the city, and similar to the item you just read, this is the first reading of an ordinance, but the second one will be in January. So I'll just give some brief highlights on the property itself and the process. Are you able to change it, Scott? It's not moving for me. Thank you, Scott, if that was you. So here's an aerial photograph of the property. You can see the line down the center there is Drake Road, which is also the western border of the city, and the blue outline there. It's a 18-acre wooded parcel on Stadium Drive. And zooming in closer, the request itself is to rezone the property, and this is a current zoning of the map. The property itself has 2 zone districts on it. You can see call it like a line of RM15, which is a residential multifamily zone district, and then the bulk of it is RS5, residential single family. And by the zoning code, the majority of a zone is what you treat it as, so it's treated as a RS5 property. So very high level, the process to rezone a property is any rezoning request first goes to the Planning Commission. This request was at the November 6th Planning Commission, where the Planning Commission 7-0 did not provide a favorable recommendation to the City Commission. And then the request is to you guys at the commission, and there is the first reading to set it on to the record, and then a following second meeting, where this one is out on January 26, 2026 is the date. And then at the public hearing, there's discussion, public comment, and obviously the deliberation of the commission. The difference is the Planning Commission had the hearing, the substance of the staff analysis and to the zoning ordinance was performed by the Planning Commission. And where the ordinance to be adopted or proposed, I should say, the request, the staff report, public comment, all of that would happen for the City Commission at the 26th as well. And for people watching or listening, ways to continue to submit public comments. Staff is collecting comments received since the Planning Commission meeting. They can submit those comments, concerns by phone or email to 311. Those will still make it to me. Or you could email me directly. My email is durkeer@kalamazooCity.org. That is DURKEER@kalamazooCity.org. The R is for Robert. I only say that because some people send stuff to Durkee B. And that is the high level, and any questions you guys have, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any particular questions for Assistant Planner Durkee at this time? All right, thank you, Commissioner. I think we're all set. Thank you. Now is the opportunity for anybody who's here in the chambers to comment on this item. Remember, this item is just the setting of the hearing for the 26th. If you're interested, please come forward, state your name, whether you live in the city, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Tom Howes again. Can you confirm that's the meeting where you vote on the proposal, yes or no? Just as a point of clarity? Okay, thank you. I had sent this a few years back when this issue was going to be held, and then anyway, I sent this to the City Commission, and this involves relocating a meeting of that's going to be this popular or to a venue large enough to support public participation. And those reasons include in 2020, we had standing room only in this building. All of the rooms had overflow rooms were completely filled at capacity. We had people standing in the hallways, blocking exits. So I thought that was just a public safety concern. It would be better for equal opportunity for the public to attend in person. I watched many people unable to stand for many hours outside in the halls and just left. So I think that's a huge accessibility issue, and one that is telling people that if you aren't physically able, that you're not welcome here. And I have researched a pretty long list a few years ago when I presented this to city planning and public safety of other cities, specifically in Michigan and in the Midwest, that have relocated city meetings like this to larger venues when they're anticipating a large public turnout, which we definitely will again. I have a minute left, so I'd like to go back to my pet project of the public participation policy, which I hope can somehow be influenced in maybe a revision of the staff report if a new one is going to be actually made for the meeting on the 26th. And I hope that staff report can add categories like summary of public input and key themes, quality and depth of engagement with the public participation, and influence of community input on staff analysis and recommendations. City staff, planning staff should identify the ways in which public participation informed the final recommendation. So I hope to see that staff report has an amendment or revision that actually reflects the public participation on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this item? Seeing no one, Commission, the recommended action is a motion to offer the ordinance for first reading and schedule a public hearing for January 26, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Duncan.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Pradel. Discussion, Commissioners. Commissioner Slavy.
Thank you, Mayor. So, again, I appreciate the public comments today, because this makes me think about, this item that we're discussing is the scheduling of this hearing. Since it was moved to January 26, the recommendation, we do have flexibility in the requirement that we have for notification. I think it's 10 days, 2 weeks, that we have to ensure that people are aware of the meeting. So if desired, we could potentially decide to host it at a different venue. My thought, though, is to think about this in a broader sense, in that we always will have different meetings where there's going to be a full room that spills over, not just for this topic, but other topics, as I'm sure my fellow commissioners have experienced in the past. And so possibly having a consistent practice that the commission does to say, hey, it's met this threshold, and so therefore we will move to a venue. So this is not a one-time thing or a unique thing to this one that may be confusing to people. And then potentially we have an opportunity to say, hey, this is going to be our go-to venue each time. So it's not a scramble for staff to then figure it out within the next couple of weeks if we want to move forward with this, or for any future items that people from the public request us to consider moving to a different venue. And on that same topic, I think about the ADA accessibility, not just the physical location of the space, but I know that through the Planning Commission, we extend the opportunity for people to phone in to provide their comments. I know that was utilized at this November 6th Planning Commission for this item. And, I wonder with the new year coming, if this is an opportunity for the commission, and not here at this moment, but potentially at our December 15th meeting, to entertain reinstating the phone call-in opportunity during City Commission. I think it's important to consider all people and in our community and their opportunity to be able to provide their comments, whether they're able to actually come to this physical space or not. We do this for our other boards and advisories, and we used to do this for the City Commission, as you all know. And so again, going into the new year, this is an opportunity to reset with a new city manager, a newer configuration of the City Commission. And I think this is important in terms of being able to be responsive to what the public is asking us to consider. With that being said, I do understand that public comments can be long, and it's not about us not wanting to sit up here for hours and listen to people's public comments, but I think in terms of just being able to structure the meeting and have, keep it in order and make sure everyone feels like they're being heard. Potentially the compromise here is, we provide 4 minutes, which often a lot of people don't use the full 4 minutes. If they do need to continue, the strategy has been they have somebody follow up after them with their additional minutes to continue. And so it could look like where we drop it down to 2 minutes, so it's 2 minutes in person and 2 minutes on the phone, to be able to cut down the time as a compromise. But for me, when we're thinking about scheduling this hearing, I think those considerations are important in this opportunity to rethink how we're being responsive to the community in their opportunity to participate and engage in this dialogue with us.
Thank you. Other comments, commissioners?
I got it.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
So I want to touch on the topic Commissioner Slaby said about the call-ins. I don't think that we need to be discussing a trigger to go to venues. I think that we need to be politically courageous and open up these meetings back to the people at home that can't make it here. So many of my colleagues, upon winning the election, I had a conversation with you all about my desire and many of the people's in the public's desire to move back to the call-in portion of our meetings. So I will be putting full support behind that, and I think that alleviates this problem of us only having standing room only in here for any of these issues, particularly, the Asylum Lake. Now to the Asylum Lake issue. Couple things. We have heard tonight over and over about public participation. I am sorely disappointed in how this has been presented to the public, how quickly this has moved, the lack of transparency or the perception of that, and perception is reality to the people that we serve. And the perception is we have been the city in general, which we are a part of, has been kind of ramming this, through and kind of pushing this through the public without, proper input. And so, I'm a bit frustrated because when we had our executive session, I asked for this meeting to be moved to January, and I received pushback on that. All for the decision to be made without the commission present, that this would be moved back to January. So I want to be clear on the record that there was a wish from this commission to move this issue to January, and we were advised that the petitioner would be upset or would feel slighted, if we moved it. And I think that we can show respect and due diligence to people who are wanting to do business with the city, and also pay respects to the public who want to participate in that portion of discussion on what's going to happen in their city. That's all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So at this point, there's other topics that have been brought up which are not necessarily totally germane just to this action, so valid topics. So I guess I just want to bring us back at this point just to this action of setting this hearing date for the 26th and making sure we can act on that. Commissioner Slaby.
I guess I think about, this is why I thought it was related to what we're thinking about today, because if we wanted to consider a new venue, I want to make sure staff has time to do that, and want to ensure that January 26th would be a date that would work. I don't know if this is the platform in which we discuss a new venue, or if city staff come back to think about that later and let us know. But that's why I brought those things up, just to understand if that would impact public notification and then impact the date. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. Commissioner Prado?
Sure. I think I tend to agree with the venue choice, and there's plenty of precedents in other communities. I think one consideration, though, in terms of community accessibility and participation, is the ability to effectively live stream and make sure that people can watch, or listen. And so in terms of just thinking that through, I really want to be thoughtful to make sure that technology can exist and we can do that effectively in a large venue. I think it's really critical, even just for capturing it for people who can't participate that day but want to go back and watch and listen to it, because I do encounter a number of residents who don't participate by coming to the meeting or even just watching it live, but sometimes want to go back and watch it, and I do that all the time for a lot of the boards and commission meetings. So I'd really like to be thoughtful about that component as well. I think in terms of the call-in, I would really love to learn more about what other communities are doing to effectively manage that, in terms of just looking at what time frame people are allowing for that, just what parameters that they set for that. So I would be curious to learn more about what other people are doing with that as well. But yeah.
Commissioner Slaby, did you want to follow up on that? Or?
Well, so I wonder, is this something that we table until December 15th to schedule for staff to then explore what another venue looks like, and then let us know that, hey, we could do another venue, and because if we go to another venue, we don't even know if it's available on January 20th. I mean, there's a lot of factors, and so, or do we just set it on January 26th, and when we're voting to set it on January 26th, does that also include the location as part of that decision? Or can we change that location after we set the date today?
So those are all good questions. So just a variety of things, I guess I'll just chime in here on this. We have had meetings in other places. I've participated in those in public neighborhood settings, over at the library, the Van Dusen room we were looking. So that is something the commission has done before. Then there's the logistics component to it. Is it accessible? Can we adequately live stream it and film it? All those other kinds of logistical things would need to happen. But it's certainly something we've done in the past, so that wouldn't be a brand new thing for the commission as far as relocating. Just other things to think about for that particular evening. That is a very, very special evening. As you all are aware, that is when we do our MLK awards. And so there would be an extensive part of that meeting, which we have already scheduled, which we had tentatively talked about the idea of possibly doing that at 6 o'clock, earlier than the 7 o'clock meeting, for those, for all the families and all the members that will be coming in, for that event. And that is a very, very important and really kind of a profound and meaningful event. And so, that's another logistical piece here to discuss with administration, because that is something that already happens. We have this awkward situation now where we used to postpone our regular Monday meeting that fell on MLK Day to the next day, Tuesday, which had been our scheduling. And then now Tuesday is also a special day with certain things that happen on it, so that we now don't have it on Tuesday, which, as we've now pushed it back to the fourth Monday. So there's that scheduling. So there's a whole variety of what other things are happening, how is the scheduling working, is there another place we'd like to do it, was that place meet all our requirements? So that's one set of discussion, I think, on the facility itself. It's not setting precedent. We have done that before in the past. It's a logistics thing. And then another piece of that is just related to an idea about either regular or meeting-specific opportunity for call-in as well. So that's another thing that we can talk about, which has some logistics to it also. I was around actually for the entire call-in period that we had here, and that basically was driven at that time by COVID. So within a couple months of me being elected mayor the first time, we went to call-in mode, and some of that was actually Zoom meeting mode, and then back here in call-in. So we've done it before. I'm not sure how it works with boards and commissions. We went through some bumps when we started call-in, and I'm not sure how that's avoided now, but those bumps were people who would call in specifically to do a spoof call-in, and then move into some sort of a profane suggestion that is then public for everyone, young people and old people, and so we have to manage that call-in piece, and there's logistics around that also. So anyway, there's kind of a lot of topics to discuss here, and I suppose you're right, Commissioner Slaby, that, you know, I guess there's no absolute reason. Manager Moore let me know that it must be on the 26th. I don't know if there's a reason for that necessarily. You know, do we have some more elbow room around that? I don't know the answer to that, but maybe staff?
Yes, I
Manager
would
Moore?
like to defer to staff about the timing.
I don't know that the ordinance states it, but I would have an understanding that after the Planning Commission decision, probably through the Enabling Act, there's a reasonable time frame to have it heard by the legislative body, and I don't know if Attorney Leal could, maybe not right here, but that's the item, that's probably what should be asked, like, is there, I'm very confident there's not a must-by date, but probably should set the date. I don't know how long it could go out.
Good question. I'm sure Attorney Leal, is that something you'd need to research?
In going with a reasonable time frame, it doesn't necessarily have to be the next week or 2 weeks or beyond the notification period. You know, the different factors come into play because reasonableness is subjective. So since we have holidays coming up and we also have a city budget that's also being worked on, and who knows what the developers' personal issues might be, that, you know, the 26th could be a very reasonable date, and it's my understanding that that's a date that was acceptable to the developer, the 26th. Nothing prevents us from going back to the developer and asking if they can delay it even further, if, you know, if they would like to do that. But at some point, you know, we have to settle on that date, you know, and we can proceed on the 26th, as this is just scheduling the 26th. The notification won't go out to sometime in January. If for some reason staff and the developer are able to find a different date, maybe a later date, where we can find a facility that could accommodate and all the needs that would be required, assuming that if that is where the commission wants to go, then we would come back and amend this and schedule it for a different public hearing date. I mean, it's not, there's many ways to go about it, and it's the point. Just because you set it on the 26th won't be set in stone if for some reason we need to change it again.
And that is correct. The applicant was okay with they're aware of the January 26th date, and that worked for them.
Well, I'll tell you, my gut inclination is not to set it and change it, so even though that would certainly be an option. Vice Mayor Duncan?
Call the question.
Commissioner Slaby? So, I mean, so I'm just trying to work through, you know, what are things that we could do related to this. I would say that the time frame would spill, so I'm just brainstorming some ideas. It seems to me that it would be not too late to set a hearing date on the 26th, if we still desire that, at our meeting on December 15th. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So there's no reason we have to set the date tonight. I'll tell you what, you know, my gut response when I realized that our MLK recognition was on that same evening was, I mean, I'm not saying that people turning out, you know, is not a great positive thing, but the tenor tends to be not celebratory, I would say, and I really, really appreciate the celebratory nature of that event for young people, and so the idea that it was going to be possibly occurring on the same evening was not something that was appealing to me, which is why we talked about maybe trying to separate it. So, I mean, that is very important to me, that has to happen in January, and that should happen at our meeting in January when I'm referencing the MLK recognitions. So if it's possible, and you just have to let us know what the steps would be, either to table it or withdraw our motions, that sort of thing. If it's possible, could we just have a little time to think about this from the staff perspective? Then we could bring it back at December 15th, and we wouldn't actually act on it this evening. That's just what I'm proposing.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hess?
Mayor, could we still offer it for a first reading and not have a schedule of the date until December 15th?
That's Attorney Leal question.
Yes, you can.
So it's just an amorphous, we're offering this for first reading. You don't have to set a date.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, well, Commissioner Cradle?
I do think it's germane to have that conversation about venue, though, and I will say, like, having been here back in 2019 or 2020 when it happened, and also this last month, it is almost inhumane for many individuals to, and effectively when there's hundreds of people who want to speak, trying to stand for that long. I think the other thing that's really complicated and awkward is if you're in the overflow room, but you want to make a comment, it's exceptionally hard to figure out how you fit into that. And so, I just think, especially in these extremely rare instances where we have something like this event where we anticipate a really large presence, I think it's a great idea to try to find an alternative venue. And it doesn't sound like it's going to impact the vote tonight, but I do hope that we can do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cradle. So I'm sorry to ask this, lost track of this. Was there a motion made on this, Clerk Boiling?
Correct.
Okay, I'm thinking we're in discussion, so there must have been a motion made.
And the motion was first reading and to schedule the hearing on the 26th.
Yeah,
That's the motion.
So I withdraw the motion.
Commissioner Slavy?
I make a motion to amend, to remove the language, schedule a public hearing for January 26th, for the motion to read, to offer the ordinance for first reading.
Support.
So then we would need to vote on the amendment first. Is there discussion on the amendment?
Yes.
Any input, Attorney Leo?
It is a superior motion, so you would be voting on the motion to amend, and there is discussion available when it's been motioned and seconded.
So we're set at this point, there's been a motion to amend, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now, is there anyone in the chambers who would like to comment on the motion to amend?
That is not, the motion to amend is not technically an action item, which is the underlying motion, which is the motion to approve this to going forward, which allows the public to speak. This is the motion that's for the actual underlying motion.
And that is why we have an attorney in the House.
Public comment has already been had.
So thank you, no one, for coming forward. I didn't have to tell you to go back to your seats. Then, any further discussion on the motion to amend? Then Clerk Boiling, will you please call the roll on that?
Okay, on the motion to amend, Commissioner Pradle?
Yes.
Commissioner Slavy?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. The motion passes. Now we're back to the original motion, right? Attorney
The
Leo?
underlying original motion, which is motion to offer the ordinance for first reading, period.
Thank you so much. And for that motion, had I asked for comments already from individuals here in the chambers?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Clerk Boiling. All right. Commissioners, any discussion on that motion? Clerk Boiling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle?
Yes.
Commissioner Slavy?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. The motion passes. Relative to that, I'm sure that there will be more discussion with your team, Manager Moore, and we'll figure out some of those logistic issues, and we can presumably actually have a date certain that we can set at our meeting in December, on December 15th, hopefully. I presume so. All right. Thank you. Commissioners, reports and legislation. Do you have anything for us, Manager Ritzman? Manager Ritzman.
Just a couple of things, Mayor. Certainly want to be thankful for all of the city employees that worked so hard to make this long Thanksgiving weekend an enjoyable and peaceful weekend including those who worked for the wonderful tree lighting ceremony, our public safety officer, our parks and rec staff, certainly our public services crews dealing with the snow issue, so we are grateful that they were on their jobs. Also, I wanted to make note that this coming Thursday, public safety will once again have the Shop with the Senior event. That is this Thursday. That is a very wonderful event that's happening this Thursday, as well as this weekend. Our winter market will open on December 6th. So those are a few things that will be coming up within the week.
Thank you, Manager Moore. Now is the opportunity for commissioner comments. Are there any commissioners that would like to offer comments this evening? Commissioner Slaby.
I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed being in the parade. I think Maple Hill Pavilion did a great job to support that work, and so it was exciting to see the community out there. It was packed. Everyone somehow found a way to park and walk to where they needed to get to, but we will continue to work on parking downtown for all the other days in Kalamazoo. And then I also appreciate the tree lighting ceremony. I went to it, as a resident last year. It was great to actually participate in it this weekend. So that was wonderful. One thing I did want to make sure that the public knew, since we were sworn in just a couple weeks ago, me and Vice Mayor Duncan both don't have our emails active. So if anyone has been trying to reach out to us, just know we are not ignoring you. Staff is working diligently to get it all set up for us, but I just wanted to ensure that the public knew that we currently cannot receive any messages that someone might be sharing with us. And so I look forward to once we get that stuff active and ready to go so we can hit the ground running and be able to communicate with all of you moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Slaby. Other comments, commissioners? Commissioner Hess.
Sure. Mayor and I were pleased this morning to visit the Zoo Scoop ice cream shop. It's and do their grand opening. It's a local ice cream shop that's right between the Secretary of State and
Armed Forces Recruiting.
And the Armed Forces Recruiting, like right there by Schaefer's Flowers in that plaza on Stadium Drive. Local family, locally owned, and really just a wonderful, warm spot to get your ice cream. So that's one of the perks of sitting here, that we get to participate and know about those things here in our community. What I wanted to say tonight was Julie Mack, MLive writer, wrote a wonderful article last week about the impact of philanthropy on the city of Kalamazoo. And when you read all of the things that philanthropy has done here in Kalamazoo, it's incredible. And it makes me very grateful to live here. And while I'm not a billionaire, and I can't give back at the level that the richest among us have done, it made me consider, what can I do? How can I give back? Besides serving here, what can I do? How can I serve? How can I help the mission make dinners? How can I show up in different ways through my faith community or in other clubs that I belong to? How can I serve? And I hope that we can all ask ourselves that question. How can I serve this community? Because so many have served it before me. It was wonderful, the Alpha Phi Alpha Kappa Psi Lambda chapter, what they talk about in terms of service, in terms of education and mentorship. Our schools are crying for mentors and volunteers. Communities and schools needs mentors and volunteers. There are so many people, or many entities that are working with our youth and working with our unhoused that need volunteers. So what can I do? What can we do? And what can you do?
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Other commissioners? Commissioner Wilson? No? Vice Mayor Duncan?
First, I'd like to acknowledge two of my colleagues, Commissioner Hess and Commissioner Wilson. Many of you won't know, but before the holidays, these two people took time away from their families, away from things that they could have been doing for themselves to figure out ways that they could serve this community. So I am humbled and honored to serve alongside people who see this city as worthy to serve. So thank you. And Commissioner Wilson, especially thank you to you because we did it in the code on Wednesday. And shout out to United for the Unsheltered. That group has been going on Thursdays in feeding our neighbors every Thursday. And while they could not make the Thanksgiving Thursday, they made sure that our most vulnerable in this community had a warm meal and smiling faces and warm hugs and encouragement to ingest on Wednesday. So thank you so much for what you all do every single week, but particularly in one of the harshest days, harshest weeks that we've had this year. I want to shout out our elected women who put on the Thanksgiving Day drive or before that. So again, another shout out to Commissioner Hess, who again, served in that spot and delivered meals to our most vulnerable families in Kalamazoo. And also, there was a topic, the rents downtown. We don't control the rents downtown. I forget which citizen brought that to the mic, but we don't hold private property as a city commission, so we don't control the rents downtown. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. No? All set, everyone? All right, thank you so much. So I just want to say, just as December's a month we think a lot about holidays. We got a lot of meetings this month, and we got a budget to look at. We have a meeting in a week about our budget, so that will be another good chance to get a nice overview from the team. And just a reminder, our budget is out on our website right now. And I'm sort of catching by surprise, Manager Moore, but how easy is it to find that on our website? Do you have a sense of that?
I think it's I think it is fairly easy. It's on kalamazoo.org. I think I had a note here. Budgets. kalamazoo.org/budget.
Thank you so much. That should be easy enough, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
KalamazooCity.org. There we go. All right. So that's great. And thank you, Vice Mayor Duncan, for bringing up a couple groups that often aren't recognized, that are doing great work every day. And I can tell you from these seats, and actually from my seat in particular, getting invited to so many things, over and over and over again, I'm reminded of all the caring people that are in Kalamazoo and doing the work that makes this community have the fabric of caring that it does. And often there's probably too many people and too many things going on to recognize everyone all the time, obviously, but I appreciate you stepping in and doing that. And just along those lines, just a reminder, since it did come up tonight, as of today, the city has contributed, along with the county and United Way, to a process that was a request for proposal process that was put out there, managed by the United Way through the COC, looking for groups that would step forward and provide additional warming shelter beds between now and the end of March. And there were some local groups, and I want to give props to those groups that stepped forward, turned in applications, and are filling a real need. So that started today. As of today, there are over 90 beds available for warming shelter beds here in the city of Kalamazoo that did not exist basically 24 hours ago. So I know there's a lot of people working on that, and that's also entirely driven by the caring community that we are blessed to live in. So I appreciate all those efforts that are going on. I'm sure there will, as with everything, might be a couple bumps, but Vice Mayor Duncan appropriately brought up a question when we were talking about it, how will we ensure that the money we're contributing will, be spent effectively and efficiently and to the end in the way that we care about, and there was an assurance given that monitoring will occur. So I'm sure we will hear about that as time goes on, but I appreciate that as well. That all said, I want to switch gears here just a little bit, and I just want to mention something that is printed on pink paper, and people may have gotten that. That is the tax notices that just went out to all property owners that I'm sure everyone saw in their mailbox. Hard to miss. You don't get much that is printed on pink, and that's how the winter tax bill comes. So anyone that owns real estate in Kalamazoo would have gotten one of those notices which says it's from the city of Kalamazoo, and it's your winter tax bill, which is due on February 16th, I think, is that the date this year. So fair warning, you got over a couple months. If you have a mortgage on a property, probably the bank is taking care of that in the escrow account, and they may adjust your escrow up if it's not sufficient to cover that. Just a fair warning. One thing I wanted to remind people, because I hear this often, oh my goodness, my city taxes just went up. So I would suggest that just for everyone's edification, just take a moment and look at that pink piece of paper. And as you may note, if you're a homeowner, you will be paying 22.42 mills on the value of your property. But as you go through and look to see where that tax money is going, it's going to the county, to KRESA, to the library, to school debt, and to school supplemental. And that is no city taxes in this winter tax bill. Nothing that is being charged by the city for the city. We happen to be the folks who print it and send it out and collect that and then distribute it appropriately, but that is actually not a city tax. Another reminder about that is that for people who, businesses who pay taxes or rental property, the tax bill is really over 40 mills. And that is because there's additional 18 mills that's charged to non-homestead properties, which goes to fund school operating fund. If you look on your tax bill and you see school operating and you are a homeowner, you will notice that there is nothing in that line. It's zero. But on the non-homestead line, that's where you see those additional 18 mills that go to school operating. So just, I guess, a little boring discussion about taxes, but taxes ultimately aren't boring, I don't think. And it's just good for us to remind ourselves what are the things that drive our tax bill. And one thing I will say, and this is an amazing thing about the city of Kalamazoo, is that over and over again, residents in Kalamazoo vote for the schools to borrow money to build new schools and rehab schools. Hence, we have debt. And because of borrowing money and because individuals get to vote on that, we are voting a tax on ourselves. And I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that we reconsider that. Sometimes it's a little shock when it comes on our tax bills, but this is a community that supports the public school system. And the consequence of that is we do have new schools. We do have facilities that are being kept up, and we do have debt to pay. And this is how we pay it when we get these bills. I love you, Kalamazoo. We're adjourned.